The 21st of December, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Shavuot, Rashi, Vayigash.
We lost his he was on.
I heard him, but I don't see him.
Yeah, then I disappeared. 1 second.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so what happened over here? And bum, bum, bum. Okay. And now,
Yeah, there you are.
yeah, I can see myself again. Okay, let's go.
We're on Daled?
Yeah.
Okay. Mayor, you remember whose turn it was?
No, I don't.
All right, why don't I start?
It was your turn, Lou. It was your turn.
Vayomer Yosef el Achi Echav Geshu na Eli Vayigashu Vayomer Ani Yosef Achichem Asher Michartem Osi Mitzrayma. Okay, so then Yosef said to his brothers, come close to me, and they came close, and he said, I am Yosef, your brother. Interesting, it's plural. I would think it would be singular.
No, your brother.
Your brother, I'm your brother. I'm one person.
Yes. So Achichem means your plural.
Brother of you guys, the brother of you plural. I guess.
Right.
That's what it is. That you sold me.
Whom you sold, right, basically, to Mitzrayim.
OC, isn't OC me?
Me, yes.
To Egypt. Okay, for Geshu na Eli. Ra'a Osam Nisogim La'achor. He saw them backing away. Amar, he said to himself, according to my English.
Right.
Achshav achi nich.
Achai, my brothers.
Achai, achshav achai nich lamim. Nich lamim. Now my brothers feel ashamed. Shouldn't it be achim? Is it smichut?
No, it's not smichut.
Why does it say achai? Shouldn't it say achim?
It's my brothers. It's a possessive.
Right, possessive, but where's the plural?
It says instead of saying achi would be singular, achai is plural.
I see. Okay. Kara lahem. So he called to them. B'lashon raka. With a gentle. What?
Yeah.
With a gentle.
Raka b'tachanunim.
B'tachanunim. And supplication. V'hir'a lahem.
See, that's why it says no, please.
No, what
Didn't you say Geshu Eli? Please come close to me, draw close to me.
Oh, please. Na, gashu na alai, Eli.
Right.
V'her'a lahem, and he showed them shehu machul, that he was circumcised.
Right. Now this last phrase, the Mefarshim discuss why does Rashi need to add that? Where does Rashi see this in the words of the pasuk that he showed them that he was circumcised? So besides that, there's another question which the Mefarshim dwell on, is that what proof is it Bichlal that Yosef was circumcised, that he was Yosef? All the Egyptians were circumcised. Why?
Oh.
Because Yosef himself had ordained upon all the Egyptians, if you want your food, you got to be circumcised. If you want your food to rot, which you put aside yourself, that's what we have mentioned in, I'll show you in last week's Parsha, we had the Rashi here. I refer you back to chapter 41, Pasuk 55, Pasuk Nun Hey. So the Pasuk says, Vatirav kol eretz Mitzrayim. All the land of Egypt was hungry. Vayitzak ha'omer Paro lalochem. They cried out to Paro for bread. Vayomer Paro l'chol Mitzrayim. Paro said to all of Egypt, okay, l'chol Yosef, go to Yosef. Asher yomar lachem ta'asu. That which he tells you to do, do. Whatever he tells you, do. So Rashi explains, Diba Mascha asher yomar lachem ta'asu. Yosef Yosef said to them that they should be circumcised. When they came to Paro, this is what he's telling us, that we should be circumcised. So Paro said to them, why didn't you store up grain yourself? Didn't Yosef announce to you, right, that the years of famine are coming, so you should have been prepared yourselves. So they said to him, we collected a lot, and it rotted. So Paro said to them, if so, whatever Yosef tells you to do, do.
Elaborate.
Okay? Okay? Well, it must be that Yosef decreed upon the grain which you had, right? And it wasn't under his auspices, but it was each person had stored up privately. Yosef had decreed upon that, and it rotted. What will be if he now will decree upon us, then we're going to die. So therefore, Paro says, don't play around with Yosef. He's a man of God. He can say anything he wants, and he can adorn anything he wants. And if you don't listen, you could be well in serious trouble. Therefore, if he tells you to circumcise yourself, then if you want his grain, you have to be circumcised, then do it. So you see from here that all the Egyptians were circumcised. So what's the big deal to that Paro that Yosef shows his brothers? You know, I'm circumcised. Everybody was circumcised. Okay, so on that question, there are a number of answers. Either the fact that the brothers maybe didn't know, number one, or another answer is that there's a difference between the circumcision, the plain circumcision, which the Bnei Yishmael and others, nations of the world, maybe practice the circumcision, but we have an additional halacha, which is actually halacha l'Moshe Sinai. It's handed down through Moshe from Sinai, but it's halacha which is not stated explicitly in the Torah, and that is to do priya, which means as follows: that after the initial foreskin has been cut off, there remains a certain amount of foreskin which covers the lower part of the head of the organ, and that is supposed to be at the back, at a certain point or whatever. It has only a very thin membrane, which where it's attached, the skin is attached. It means it's attached. No, it's like a crown. After you've cut off the main foreskin, it's just like a little piece of skin all the way around. And at one point, it's very thin. So the moel, that's the practice called priya, tears that and bends the skin back below the crown of the organ. So therefore the completion of the mila is that the crown of the organ is totally exposed. Okay, that's the way mila is done, and especially if it's done on a small baby. So therefore, when afterwards the man grows up, you don't see any skin whatsoever. It gets kind of detracts, it contracts. It contracts, and it becomes part of the rest of the skin of the lower end of the organ. Okay, but the point was that this is what Yosef was showing his brothers, that I have this extra thing that's just like you are circumcised, yeah, so am I circumcised, not in the way necessarily all the rest of the Goyim are circumcised, because they didn't do that. Pulling back of this, what's called priya, means to open up, pulling back the extra skin. Okay, as far as the other question is concerned.
You said there are a lot of opinions. Is one of the opinions that it's a metaphor?
Could be. I haven't come across such an opinion. Okay, I haven't come across such an opinion. But one thing I have come across is that that's why he asked him to come close. It's not as if he revealed himself, exposed himself and say, everybody, look, I am circumcised. That's why, and that in fact is where the Chazal derive this from, is because he uses the term, didn't say, kirvu no elai, come to me, draw near to me. But he says geshu, and the Lashon geshu means come to draw close. Come close to me. Therefore, he didn't want to expose himself in kind of maybe under his clothing, whatever. But he did want to show them this fact that he was fully circumcised. Okay.
I think that's it for number 4.
Yeah. Meir, are you up to? Yeah. Pasuk 5.
Okay, let's see. Pasuk 5 says, V'ata al te'atvu v'al yichar be'einechem ki mechartem oti hena ki l'mechya. Oh, hena.
Hena, comma.
Hena. Ki l'mechya shalachani Elokim lifnechem. Okay, so don't be, I guess, annoyed with yourself. And the Ayichar.
Do not be upset in your eyes.
Upset in your eyes. Because
that you sold me here.
That you sold me, Hena, behold.
No, here.
Oh, here?
Not hine. Hena means to hear.
Oh, okay. So you sold me here, okay, because the michya, that's to give life, isn't it?
Yeah, right. To be a provider.
provider of life. Oh, Hashem
כי למחיה שלחני אלוקים לפניכם.
sent me ahead of you, before you.
Means that God has sent me ahead of you to be lemichya, as a provider of sustenance.
Uh-huh.
So Rashi is going to point out over here.
Okay, so it says Lemichya, the provider of sustenance of life. Lemichya lachem, no, I'm sorry. Liyot lachem lemichya. Okay. To support of life for you. So who's the you? For, I guess, for the brothers?
Yeah. Yeah, for the brothers, the whole
Okay.
family.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Pasuk Vav.
Ki zeh shinasayim ha'ra'av b'kerev haaretz v'od chamesh shanim asher ein charish v'katir. Okay, so because these 2 years hunger,
Of famine.
what?
Yes. Look, yeah,
The hunger is in the midst of the land,
right.
and
Have
furthermore,
to really have to add in over here, and this is what Rashi is going to have already passed.
there are 5 years that
And there'll be there'll be another 5 years
that there will not be plowing or harvest.
right. There'll be an agricultural standstill.
Oh.
So why is Yosef ignorant of the fact that there's not going to be 5 years?
Because that only happened when Yaakov Avinu came down to Mitzrayim, and that was something miraculous.
Oh.
Mhm.
So he didn't necessarily know that this miracle was going to happen.
But we said before it was hinted to in the dream.
It was open.
He didn't realize that?
Um, he didn't. Could be he didn't. He was thought this was a possibility. He didn't. He was aware of the possibility, but he didn't want to. And by the way, the actual fact that he didn't say, why didn't he just say? There'll be another 5 years of famine. Why say Asher ein chorish v'kotze? That there won't be any plowing or harvesting. Very strange wording. So it could be that what Yosef was referring to, that even though once Yaakov came down, the famine stopped, but things weren't like they used to be.
Ah.
Right? There was still a limited amount of agricultural work done, much less than otherwise.
Uh-huh.
So even though the famine stopped, it wasn't completely stopped?
That's what it could well be. That's the implication of the Lashon here. Yeah, just 1 second. Actually, there's a very interesting Balaturim over here. I just noticed it now. Right? The Balaturim says something very interesting. I'll read it out to you. Haka she'ein chorish v'kotzi, v'idoch ad oid kol yemei haaretz zera v'kotzi. He says the two times this term kotzi appears in the Torah. This often the Balaturim does this. He compares the same word where it appears elsewhere in the Torah, and he draws an analogy or a comparison to where it's mentioned elsewhere. So he says as follows: Loima, devade lo bo Yosef levatel gzeres hamokim. Right? That's for sure. Yosef did not come to cancel the decree of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who had said, Oid kol yemei haaretz, throughout further the rest of the years of the world, zera v'kotze lo yishbosu, planting and harvesting will not stop. And therefore, the decree of Yosef, which he had heard in his dream, sounds like contradictory to that, because it says Zera v'kotze lo yishbosu, that planting and harvesting will not cease. And here it says there won't be harvesting, there won't be plowing and harvesting. Akein Omar asher ein chorish v'kotze. Meaning that for sure, were they to plant, they would reap, they would harvest, right? And once they've planted, there will be a harvest, to something to harvest. The yeah, the Egyptians didn't want to plant. So that's better we eat what we have, the grain which we have in our possession. Let's better eat it rather than we should plant it and on the maybe we won't have enough grain till we harvest the crop of these grains, which we, instead of eating them, we're going to plant them. Therefore, so that's what he's implying, that there'll be another 5 years that people will not plow and harvest, right? There may be a few people who will just sow the few grains that they have, and they will indeed harvest, but most people will not want to do that. So that's what basically the Balaturim says. So according to this, it's very, what the Pasuk says is very specific, meaning that things will improve. In the next 5 years, things will improve. That anybody who does plant will be able to harvest at least somewhat of what he plants. It will not be the same situation as it was in the years of plenty, but there will be regular planting and harvesting. But people will be so nervous about giving away the grains that they have in their possession because there's such limited food, so therefore most people will not want to plant the grains that they have and take the risk of not getting it or hardly getting any yield from the grains that they planted, and they will prefer just to hold on to the grain that they have. So this implies what the Balaturim says is that, albeit they will be able to, again, the land will produce produce, but it will not be the same to the same regular level as it was before. And therefore therefore according to that, it doesn't contradict the fact that Taka Yosef knew that once Yaakov Avinu comes, then things will improve, but they will not necessarily be back to the situation as it had been previously. And therefore, many people will not want to plow and harvest because they want to hold on to the grain that they have. Okay?
Hmm.
Okay. We're up to, did we do the Rashi? Lou?
No, we didn't. Ki zeh shana sayim. Avru, they have passed. 2 years have passed. Mishnei hara'av, of the years of hunger. So when he
Right.
says
Rashi's pointing out,
these
he's
2
adding a
years, he's
word.
saying 2 years of hunger have passed.
Right. No, it's Rashi's supplying the missing verb.
Right.
Oh, Avru. Oh, okay.
Avru Mishnei Harav. Okay? That's what Rashi's adding in. Okay, let's go on to Pasuk Zayin.
Zion. Okay. V'yishlacheni Elokim lifnechem
Lasum.
lachem she'erit be'eretz ul'hachayot
Ba'aretz.
ba'aretz ul'hachayot lachem lifleita gedola. Okay, so Hashem Nechem came. No. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the word. Okay, so Hashem sent me before you. Let's see. Lasum lachem. Lasum lachem. To put, not to put you. Lasum lachem is to put you. To
Or put
you.
for you.
To put
To
for
set
you.
me. Yeah. It means,
Okay.
but assume is to put, literally, but it means like to set up for you.
Oh, to set up for you. Oh.
She'eris ba'aretz, a remnant in the land.
A remnant in the land, okay. And l'chayot, and to sustain you, l'fleita gedola, for a great deliverance.
Yeah. So this I translated maybe not so literally, but in the to sustain you so that a great number of you survive.
Oh, okay. Okay, very good. So there's no Rashi there.
Oh, right.
Okay, so
Let's do Pasuk Ches.
chet v'ata lo atem shalachtem oti hena ki halokim v'yasimeni la'av lefaro ula'adon lechobeto u'moshel b'kol eretz mitzrayim. Wow. So and now, ata lo atem, you did not
And
send
now you lo atem shalachtem osi hena. It wasn't you who sent me
me here.
here to Egypt, down to Egypt.
Okay, but it
Ki
was
Elohim,
Hashem,
but rather it was God.
right? Okay, and he sent me.
Vayisimeni la'av, he caused me, whatever.
Caused me to be father of Pharaoh and master of all his house, and Umoshel. Is that a verb? And he ruled all the land of Egypt. Okay, so it says in Rashi, La'av, the father. Okay, L'chaver Patron. So to be a friend and
Patron.
patron.
Right?
Okay.
So I translate the chaver means as a colleague and as a counselor.
Oh, okay.
He was, you have a chief security advisor, right? He was chief advisor to the king. So basically, this passage tells us that Yosef had three major positions in Pharaoh's government. He was Vayisimeni la'av leFaro. He was Pharaoh's chief advisor.
Mhm.
He was in charge of the entire king's palace. Okay.
Right.
He was also the prime minister. He was the ruler, viceroy, whatever you want to call him, over the entire land of Egypt.
Uh-huh.
By the way, it's interesting. I'll just end off with this because we haven't got that much time left. I think it's the Chassam Sofer points this out. Very interesting point. That later on, when the brothers came up and told Yaakov that Yosef's still alive, right? They didn't mention all three things. They just said, go further to Pasuk 26. Vayagidu lo lemor. He's told him saying, "Oh, Yosef Chai, Yosef is still alive. And he's the ruler of the entire land of Egypt. Vayofog libo ki lohem in lohem." Right, his heart. Translate that. Felt. So I translated that. Just 1 second. 26. But his heart rejected it, right? For he did not believe them. Okay, then afterwards it says they told him he saw the wagons which Yosef had sent, and it says that's in the pasuk Chavzai. So why didn't they mention all three things? Why did they just mention he was the ruler of the entire land of Egypt? So I think it's the Chassam Sofer says this. Now tell me, sometimes a person has an ambition in life. And he's hoping, especially from his children, that they, my son the doctor, my son the professor, etc., etc. Now, do you think Yaakov honestly had been dreaming, oh, Yosef, he's the ruler of Egypt? Wow, he's made it. Is that, you think, what Yaakov was thinking?
No.
When he heard was probably Yaakov's the ruler, Yosef is the ruler of Egypt, he says, oy vey, oy vey. That's my Yosef. That's what I taught him to be a nice, fine Yid. And this he's gone now. He's the viceroy of Egypt. So what the brothers were intimating, he says, no, they realized that Yaakov wasn't interested. He wanted to know who was, shall we say, who was in charge, who ruled over whom. Was Yosef ruling over Egypt or Egypt ruling over him?
Ah.
Right? In other words, had Yosef become an Egyptian and that the entire Egyptian culture, had taken him over? Or was Yosef rather in control of himself and not allow the Egyptian culture to affect his character?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they told him. He's in charge of the entire Mitzrayim, meaning he's boss. He has not allowed the Egyptian culture to infiltrate into his own character. That's what he was telling him. Okay? That he is the ruler of the entire land of Mitzrayim. He has not let the Egyptian culture affect him to his detriment.
Uh-huh.
So therefore, he didn't believe them. He says, how can it be? I sent him when he was 17 years old. He's now 39, right? How could it be that he hasn't been affected? So then it says, the next pasuk says that he saw the wagons which Yosef had sent him. And Rashi says that Yosef was telling to remind him, remember we were still in that sugya of Egla Arufa when I left. I still remember exactly the whole sugya which we were learning. Oh, said Yaakov. Oh, he still remembers what we learned together then. He means it's true that Taka he could be in control of Mitzrayim, meaning that he's remained Yosef HaTzadik, even though he's been in the Egypt, living in the Egyptian culture for the past 22 years. It could be that his Taka remains Yosef HaTzadik. Okay,
Very good. Shkoyach.
fine. Have a very good Shabbos.
Okay, have a good
Shabbat
Shabbos.
shalom, Rabbi. Thank you.
Okay,
Go ahead, Meir.
okay, Baruch Be well.